Hey there, this is Dane from featherprop.com. Thanks for dialing in today. Did Roman Catholics give us the Bible? That's what I'd like to talk about today. In my last video, I talked about why I'm not Roman Catholic. Now, this was in response to a video that I saw on YouTube by Father Mike Schmitz of Ascension Presents. I'd like to extend that talk a little bit more and discuss something else that Father Schmitz alluded to in that video, but discussed in a little more detail in another video. And this has to do with the formation of the Bible and an argument that Catholics sometimes make to Protestants about where we get our Bible. Now, I'll play a clip from Father Mike Schmitz in a bit, but let me just first sort of stage the argument for you. See, Protestants will often say we follow the Bible alone. This is a doctrine known as sola scriptura, a doctrine, by the way, that's not found in the Bible. It was sort of a chief cornerstone, a rallying cry, if you will, of the Reformation. Protestants reject the magisterium and authority of the Roman Catholic Church and instead cling to the Bible. Catholics, however, will point out that this is double talk. They will tell us that we reject the traditions and magisterium of the Roman Catholic Church in favor of the Bible, yet it is the tradition and magisterium of the Roman Catholic Church that gives us the Bible. They'll say that when we accept the Bible, we are actually accepting the authority of the Roman Catholic Church, which gave us the Bible. Let me play a clip from Father Mike Schmitz as he explains it.
Is, how did you come to the conclusion that this book should have 66 books in it? How do you come to the conclusion that these are the 66 books in your Protestant Bible? The answer, ultimately, it comes down to, well, A, they believe in the authority of Martin Luther to remove those 7. But B, in the year 250 in the Council of Rome, 315 Council of Rome, in the year 398 the Council of Carthage, and in the 1500s in the Council of Trent, the Catholic Church definitively said, these are the 73 books of the Bible. So what happened was the sacred tradition or the magisterium of the church said, these 73 books are the scripture, are the sacred scripture. So every Christian who believes in the Bible actually believes in the magisterium of the Catholic Church. They actually believe that the magisterium has the authority to definitively, infallibly teach this, because they could have got this wrong. I mean, the reality is you could have got the books of the Bible incorrectly. If I don't believe they got it incorrect or got it wrong, that means I must be trusting in the authority of the magisterium and the sacred tradition.
All right, I think that this argument can sound pretty convincing to a Protestant who's never really thought through it before. However, I want to offer an alternative viewpoint that I don't think Father Mike has entertained. But let me first take you back a few years in my life. When I was about 15 years old, and yeah, that's me rocking it in the 10th grade. Oh yeah. When I was about that age, I was going through our church's library one day, and I discovered a book called The Books That Didn't Make It Into the Bible, or something like that. I was pretty shocked and, quite honestly, a little angry. First, I wasn't aware of any books that weren't in my Bible, and secondly, I was mad that someone had chosen to keep those books away from me. What was in those books? Who wrote them? And why aren't they in my Bible? Those questions really bothered me. But that was in the day when there was no internet, and finding answers to those kinds of questions took time. Now, eventually, I would get the answer to those questions, and let me assure you, I'm not angry any longer. All of the books that didn't make it into my Bible are now on my bookshelf over there in my library. I have copies of the Shepherd of Hermas, First Clement, and the Didache, just to name a few. I even have copies of the books that were never even in the running, such as the Gospel of Peter, the Gospel according to Mary Magdalene, and the Gospel of Thomas. My journey into getting answers to my questions and getting those books was a really good one. And it's also a journey that has helped me formulate an answer to the question, did the Roman Catholic Magisterium give us our Bible? Now, I'm aware that there have been a number of ecumenical councils held over the years that have affirmed which books belong in our Bible. However, it's not to those councils that I look to get my list of approved books. That's because I've done my own research and have concluded that the books found in this Bible here, for example, contain the correct lists of books. Father Mike makes mention of the Council of Carthage, held around 397 AD, which gave us a list of Bible books. I don't accept that list, not because it came from a church council, but because I just disagree with it. That council concluded that the deuterocanonical books that are found in the Roman Catholic Bible, for example, books that I believe are not inspired on the same level as the prophetic books that we have in our Old Testament. On the other hand, I do agree with that council's list of New Testament books. Not because I believe that council had any special authority or inspiration. Rather, it's because I think they got that part of the list correct. I agree with Martin Luther's list, not because I accept his authority. I certainly do not, but because I think he happened to get it right. You see, after doing my own research into the subject, after collecting and reading the books that didn't make the cut, so to speak, I happen to agree with the Protestant list of books. This has nothing to do with accepting the authority of some church council, but it has to do with examining the evidence myself and making an informed determination. I followed the very same process that the early church did and reached the same conclusion. Now, I know that what I'm saying would make Father Mike aghast, because what I'm suggesting is that I've come up with my own list of books, and if someone else did their own research, they might come up with their own list of books, which could differ from mine and his. See, he's been trained by the Catholic Church to reject anything that would appear non-uniform. What's extremely important to the Catholic mindset is that doctrinally, everyone always thinks the same. They continually point out that Protestants have divided into thousands of denominations and that this is proof of the Roman Catholic Church because they are one. Now, I don't disagree that Protestants divide way too quickly. However, I don't believe that there's anything necessarily wrong with two Christians going their own separate ways and agreeing to disagree. For example, when writing to the Romans about what foods to eat and which days to worship on, Paul could have gone all Roman Catholic on everyone and just settled the matter by telling us all what to do. Instead, regarding food, he said, "Let not him who eats despise him who does not eat, and let not him who does not eat judge him who eats." And regarding which day to esteem as better, he said, "Let each be fully convinced in his own mind. He who observes the day observes it to the Lord, and he who does not observe the day to the Lord, he does not observe it." So you see, Paul was fine with not having everyone thinking and acting the same. Now, it is true that he was against divisions in the church. For example, when he learned that there was quarreling in Corinth about which leader to align oneself with. But in other matters, he seemed content to allow people to think for themselves and live in their Christian liberty. So did the Roman Catholic Church give us the Bible? My answer is no. When I follow the same reasoning process that the early church seemed to use, I come up with the very same list of New Testament books. This is not a question of authority or tradition. It's a question of each generation of Christians learning and thinking and allowing the Spirit of Christ to lead them. Well, if you like this video, then be sure to hit that thumbs up button. That helps others find this video when they're looking for videos of this topic. And while you're at it, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, then why not make it the effortless commitment by subscribing? And don't forget to click the little notification bell so that YouTube comes knocking on your door when my next earth-shattering video is released. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you here next time on this channel.